what's going on, guys? Make sure you picture in back on our video. Today we got, would Mexico be able to fight off the USA? Now, I think we all know the answer to that, and that is a no. Unless Mexico gets help from every other country in the world. Mexico just doesn't have the manpower or military power to go just win a war with the United States. They might win battles, but in my opinion, America would probably just walk right through. They wanted to, but because the world wouldn't let it. So, anyways, let's get into a deeper dive into it and why it wouldn't. But let's get it's cool.
Mexico and the USA enjoy good relations for the most part right now, but that wasn't the case in the 19th century when the two countries were fighting over territory. The two nations presently enjoy good trading relations, with Mexico being the fourth largest trading partner of the US behind the European Union, China, and Canada. Both cultures to some extent have crossed borders and permeated each country, but we see more Mexicans moving across the border to settle in the US rather than the other way around.
Well, yeah, because Mexico is a third world country where literally anything fucking goes. And I mean, I've heard stories about people literally, like, you can go down there speed and give the cop $10 and you're free to go. That's what I've heard stories from my family and other people. So don't say I'm just saying that because I'm racist, because I'm not. It's literally how it is. And people in here have it so easy compared to everywhere else in the world, and they're so fucking blind to fucking see it. And they just want to create problems because they're bored. But it's whatever. I mean, you go down there, live for 2 weeks, and you realize and why I understand why so many people want to come here. Do I think it's right for them to come here legally? No. But if they can do it legally, then sure, come on over. But I just can't stand, like, people saying that open borders is a good thing. Overpopulation will kill us all. So
today, this is a divisive issue, culminating in the new president's promise to construct a wall to keep out illegal immigrants. Nevertheless, in many ways, the countries still have a healthy relationship.
Yep.
Today, we'll discuss what would happen if that was not the case. In this episode of the Infographic Show, USA versus Mexico. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. An invasion, it would seem, wouldn't be too hard as the countries share a border, which between Tijuana and San Diego is the most cross-border in the world. It measures approximately 1,980
not really San Diego, it's more like Imperial Beach, but whatever.
59 miles. On the American side sits a little more than 325 million people. On the Mexican side sits close to 130 million people. The USA is a much larger country, measuring 3.8 million square miles, while Mexico is close to 762,000.
So yeah, this literally like tripled the fucking amount. That is crazy to think that you can fit like 3 Mexicos inside the United States.
Square miles. They are the third and 13th largest countries in the world, respectively. Interestingly, if these two nations should go head-to-head, it's worth noting that the Pew Research Center said in 2016 there were 5.6 million Mexican unauthorized immigrants living in the US. Pew also said that in 2016, almost 36 million Mexican Americans were legally living in the USA, accounting for a good portion of the nation's population. According to an article in The Guardian published in 2017, approximately 2 million Americans have made Mexico their home, while USA Today states that thousands more Americans are living in Mexico on tourist visas and one-year temporary visas. The Guardian writes, Mexico is the country with the largest community of US citizens living outside of the United States. In terms of our comparison,
I mean, yeah, Mexico is fucking gorgeous. I mean, you guys ever heard of Cancun and Rio Maya? That shit's so fucking gorgeous.
It is important to take into account these numbers, more so the amount of possible Mexico sympathizers in the US that could cause internal mayhem than the Americans in Mexico, many of whom are retirees. 157,227 Mexican immigrants came into the USA in 2015, and over 1 million more are still on a waiting list. So in terms of where loyalty lies, we'll let you decide. The USA is the world's biggest spender on defense by a long shot. Of its $19.4 trillion GDP, around 3.3% of that cash is spent on the military. That number for 2016 was roughly 600.
Let's find out the GDP now, because I'm pretty sure it's like 24 trillion or something like that. Hold on. Yeah, it's not very much. Only 20.9 trillion. That's still fucking a lot. Next person is China with 14. Yeah. One second, sorry.
$11 billion. US President Donald Trump has allocated around $587 billion from the US discretionary budget for 2017 for defense.
Good.
Most of this goes towards the running of the military, but the US is also a big spender when it comes to research and development and the creation of new military technology. In terms of troops, the US has 1.3 million active military personnel and a further 811,000 acting as reserve personnel. Mexico's GDP is barely over $1 trillion.
Sure.
Of that, in 2016, around $7 billion was spent on the country's defense budget, according to Global Firepower. We can find other sources that claim this number is lower. Still, Mexico is not considered to be a country that spends heavily on defense when compared to other smaller and larger nations. Mexico has 273,575 active military personnel and a further 110,000 acting as reserve personnel. With all that money to spend, the USA has quite a cache of land artillery. According to Global Firepower, the country has 5,884 tanks, 41,000 armored fighting vehicles, 1,934 self-propelled guns, 1,290
it would probably be a fucking manslaughter, to be honest.
9 towed artillery, and 1,331 multiple launch rocket systems. Only 2 countries own more tanks than the USA, and they are China and Russia.
Yep.
Some of the US's land equipment is the best in the world, and that includes the
But the Abrams is debatably the best tank in the world, so I call them the Muff Abrams.
old M1 Abrams tank, as well as the M109A6 Paladin self-propelled gun and the TOW anti-tank missile. Mexico, on the other hand, is not quite so
It's like
tooled
Soviet,
up.
like,
The country has to
Civil
its
War,
name
not like
0
Civil War,
tanks,
I mean.
695
Shit.
armored fighting vehicles, 12
Cold
self-propelled
War,
guns,
not-
375 towed artillery,
Civil War.
and 0 multiple launch rocket systems. This does not bode well for a land invasion alone, never mind what might be coming from the air or by the
Oh,
sea.
fuck.
America, in terms of equipment anyway, is no doubt king of the skies military-wise.
Yeah.
Its growing
Jesus
fleet
Christ.
of F-35A Lightning IIs
Our Air
might be
Force is
costing the
easily the
taxpayer
best
more
in
than
the world.
$11 billion this year alone, much more than the entire Mexican defense budget, but it has much more waiting in reserve. We should note that the F-35s have been criticized and belittled as a waste of money by some critics, while it's well known they have faced many technical problems. Nonetheless, the USA also owns among its
Dude,
13,000
I mean, they're just like in the rebuilding, so like they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fucking amazing in a couple years. So.
1,444 aircraft, large fleets of highly touted F-22A Raptors, F-16 Fighting Falcons, F-15E Strike Eagles, McDonnell Douglas CF-18 Hornets, and FA-18E Super Hornets.
I know the Super Hornets and
Mexico, on the
Raptors,
other
but
hand,
I've never
owns
heard of the other ones.
452 aircraft, but none of them are fighter aircraft. It
Yeah.
retired its small number of Northrop F-5E and 2 F-5F Tiger IIs recently, and doesn't seem interested in buying any more fighters. The country now relies on its PC-97 and T-6C Plus light attack trainers to protect its skies, which are no match for the US's aerial firepower. It doesn't get any better in the water for Mexico, a country not known for its naval prowess. Not surprisingly, Mexico doesn't have an aircraft carrier, nor does the country have its own destroyers. It has just 6 frigates, 3 corvettes, 131 patrol craft, and 11 mine warfare vessels. Its navy is more concentrated on Mexico's huge drug problem and offering relief in times of natural disasters. Its small navy is reasonably well equipped for those tasks. The US Navy is one of the largest and strongest in the world. It has a total of 11 aircraft carriers, 22 cruisers, 67
And, like, 30
destroyers,
of them are,
8
like, super
frigates,
carriers or
75
frigates.
submarines, 0 corvettes, 9 amphibious assault ships, 11 mine warfare ships, and 55 patrol ships. It also owns a behemoth in the Gerald R. Ford class supercarrier. Alone, this thing can be a deadly force. Obviously, the US military
floating
outpowers the
fucking
Mexican
city.
military at perhaps a difference we have not yet seen in our military comparisons, and we haven't even mentioned nuclear. However, as we have seen throughout history, power alone doesn't always spell victory. What would happen internally in the US if these two countries fell out is not something we would like to see, but all those Mexicans in the US
Yeah, I feel like it would be different though. Like, I think some of them will, but I don't think like every fucking Mexican would turn. But I mean, if it does, it would cause problems. But I feel like we would be able to take down Mexico pretty fucking quick.
USA would make matters difficult for America. So, what do you think of this hypothetical matchup? Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out our other video called Average American versus Average Mexican. Thanks for
Damn.
watching.
But no, seriously, hats off to Infographics. Did you guys go subscribe to them? No, I wouldn't see the war going in Mexico's favor at all. Like, as the video pointed out, we are so much better military than them, and it would just be a fucking manslaughter to Mexico, to be honest. But they know their land better, so they might be able to hold them off for a while, but I think the war wouldn't last more than a year, so. Anyways, if you guys agree with that, let me know in the comments. Keep on shredding. Bye, guys.